Okay, so the first installment of the Shield of Baal is here. If you haven't heard, this is the new campaign supplement called the Shield of Baal. It's the first one, subtitled Leviathan, of course, and it's finally out, and it's sold out everywhere, actually. So they're going for quite the premium on eBay, which, I mean, honestly, I personally don't understand, because you can buy the EPUB version for less than retail. I think the EPUB version goes for about 59 bucks. If you have a digital device, you can download it. You have it. Boom. Good to go. The brick and mortar copy here, I guess, is about $74. And, you know, like I said, they're sold out everywhere. Most independent retailers got two, and maybe one, depending on their volume and if, I guess, their rep likes them or not. I don't know. I don't exactly know how it works. But that being said, you know, it's something to consider. So, you know, it's kind of hard to get, but going for a premium on eBay already. Seen them up to $180 already, but I'm sure that price will come down some as well in the near future. As far as the actual supplement goes itself, there's two books. One is 48 pages. Let's take a look. 148 pages, rather. The format is very similar to the End Times from Warhammer Fantasy, and a little bit of the departure from, I guess, the the Red Wog, which was the Space Wolves and the Orcs a few months ago. So a little bit more of a departure. The books are pretty much the same. You know, you got a 148-page fluff book here with pictures. I mean, it's very well laid out, very well done. The artwork's intense and awesome, and it's everything we expect and we love from 40k, I'm sure. But probably doesn't need to be 148 pages, I guess. Like, you'll see it. There's a lot of full bleed stuff, and like I said, the layout's very nice, but it's not very functional. You know what I'm saying? Then you've got the 64-page rules book here, which contains 12 new data slates, 6 of which are actually, you know, formations and things. 6 of them are for the units that have already come out, like, you know, the new zoanthropes, and then you've got the toxicrene and all those guys, the drop pod. There's all sorts of stuff in there. And then you got the formations, which are pretty good. I mean, honestly, they're solid. And some of them, you know, it seems like Tyranids almost went the way of kind of adapted into just being purely a shooty army to be competitive on the tabletop, and getting away from being close combat oriented, and it almost seems like you can do some close combat stuff in this. So let's take a look at the first book, which is actually the fluff book. It doesn't have like a table of contents per se. It just kind of gets right into it with some artwork and things like that. So you know, it's very interesting. You know, like I said, a lot of full bleed stuff. I mean, this doesn't need to be this big. A lot of stories, very compelling stories, you know, some kill team kind of things, and then it gets into the whole system, the outline sector here, the cryptic system. We've seen a lot of this already showed off in the rumors over the weekend, and then it kind of gets into, you know, some of the fighting and things like that. There's some Sisters of Battle stuff in here. It's kind of crazy. I haven't read it all yet. I just got this in my hot little hands and kind of read over some of the sections, like some of the different things. Hey, look, a wyvern. I heard those are good, right? Especially at playing Tyranids. And then it just kind of gets into a whole lot of fluff, and, you know, great artwork, very well laid out, some really cool stuff. But at the end of the day, it's cool, but the functionality, you know, it doesn't need to be as big and crazy as it is here. Kind of gets into some fluff, some different you know, regiments are renowned, so to speak, and other sort of things in here that just pretty cool. You know, I mean, it's fluffy, it's cool. This is what we play 40k for. Then we get into the actual rules book, and, you know, it's very similar to a lot of supplements we've seen, as far as, you know, Apocalypse, Warzone supplements, or things like that. And then if we take a look in here, there is a table of contents. It's going to obviously be a little bit less content-y. So you got missions, cities of death, death from the sky. So there's 14 new faction charts that you can roll on if you want to play with your flyers and just kind of flying around the tabletop, making machine gun noises and pew-pew lasers. And then you get into Forces of Leviathan itself. They do have a specific formation to take, warlord traits, and then you get into the actual data sheets themselves. Like I said, some of them were already existing models that came out over the past couple of weeks. Some of them are new formations in and of themselves. So a lot of different things in here. Very cool stuff. If you're a Tyranid player, you definitely want it. If you're not a Tyranid player, you probably don't need this book, to be honest, at least to play. I mean, there's some cool Cities of Death stuff and scenarios and things, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't think you need it unless you're a Tyranid player. So here's the forces of the Leviathan, like I was talking about. Got a specific detachment kind of configuration here, and then you get into your restrictions and command benefits. Reroll instinctive behavior is pretty good. Ideal mission commander, which of course lets you reroll the warlord trait table, of course, and then you get in the warlord traits table right here. Then the actual data sheets themselves. Obviously, we've seen stuff like this in the White Dwarf already, but the big ones that I'm sure everybody wants to see are the actual formations. So let's start at the beginning. Boom. So we got the hypertoxic node, the neuro node, the Sky Tyrant Swarm, Sky Blight Swarm, which is kind of making a comeback from the one that started it all off, the Spore Field, and the Sky Tide. So very cool stuff. Some of these are actually very functional. Like I said, they kind of lend more to close combat and in-your-face kind of style of play than the actual way the Tyranids seem to play competitively right now, which is more of a shooty kind of standoffish kind of, oh, don't touch me, don't get near me, oh, you're going to kill all my stuff. This is more of a get into your face kind of thing quick. The Sky Tyrant Swarm, I'm sure, is a lot of people are probably going to take a closer look at that one. Another one, if you're a very tactical player and like to play games of chess on the tabletop and kind of win or lose on your positioning, the Spore Field definitely might be worth taking a look at, because that's going to allow you to position a lot of things out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, take a lot of objectives, score a lot on a Maelstrom if you're playing that, or just progressive objective tournaments, and you get to infiltrate them. So it's pretty cool, and they come back on a 4+, so they kind of get that built-in little meat grinder kind of thing, or without number, whichever term you prefer yourself. So cool stuff for the Tyranids, yay. Hopefully we'll see some Blood Angels here in the not so distant future, question mark. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's good that they kind of upgame the Tyranids a little bit as far as the actual rules, and it just seemed, I don't know, the book kind of seemed a little lackluster. Like I said, it almost seemed like to be competitive, you needed to play a certain build that wasn't necessarily, I guess, what you would envision the Tyranids being. So that was a little disappointing, but also cool that they're still very, very relevant on the tabletop, even more so with this release here. So that's about it for this one. Make sure you stay in the trenches, subscribe to this YouTube channel, check out the blog, spikybitsblog.com, and listen to our podcast, forgenarrative.com.